Yo, what is up, guys? This is Troy D from the Troy D 24/7 Mall channel, your source for on point and no hype reviews. We are back again, everybody. We're back with another fragrance review right here, guys, on my final day off. And today I will be talking about the latest Boadicea the Victorious fragrance. That's right, we're back at BTV, guys. And I know that a lot of the fans of the house follow and watch my no hype videos on Boadicea, primarily because they're no hype, no hate, and these fragrances are quite expensive. So it's good to know what these fragrances actually smell like before you invest in them. Now, before I continue, please do not forget to like and subscribe, guys. Okay, liking, subscribing, and watching the ads is a great big deal to this channel, guys. We are headed towards 24,000 subscribers. Please continue all your support. If this is the first time you've been here, we got over 700 no hype videos, and actually watching the ads, going through it does help finance a lot of the sample buying. I do buy these samples in bulk and they are not cheap, guys. So please continue all your support, guys. Hope you enjoy all my videos. Let's go. And the fragrance that we'll be talking about today is none other than the latest Boadicea the Victorious fragrance. This is none other than Boadicea the Victorious Defender. Yes, Boadicea the Victorious Defender. Now, this fragrance right here not only is the latest fragrance to come out of the house, but this, release of Defender kind of signals a new leaf, a new turn of the page, a new changing of the guard with Boadicea the Victorious. They got a new CEO. The old CEO got kicked out because he apparently sold perfumes to Russia, defying sanctions, I guess. And that's another story. And I also heard that Christian Provenzano is not going to be as dedicated to the brand. I'm not sure about that. But of course, as you can see, the perfumer of this fragrance is Kamila Lelakova. So this is something totally new, totally different, guys. And there's some other changes in the house that I'll probably bring up at the latter part of this video, guys. But anyways, let's look at the concept of this fragrance. Now, this fragrance, like many others in the house, is really about Queen Boadicea, all right? And Queen Boadicea is a warrior queen from the ancient Iceni tribe of Britain that went against the Romans, all right? So as you can tell, if you look at the other names of Boadicea fragrances, you have Adventurous, you have Heroine, you have Knight of Love, and of course you have Defender. All of these are kind of like, aspects of her persona or character, guys, all right? That totally makes sense. But of course, this is all about the juice. At the end of the day, I'm sure a lot of y'all watching are all about wanting to know what this actually smells like, and is it worth the $600 price tag that it commands. That is what I will give y'all today. I'll hack this down for y'all. Let's go spray this thing right now. Okay, guys, now let's talk about this fragrance right here, the latest Boadicea the Victorious. This is none other than Defender. All right, this is all about the juice. Now, this fragrance right here, definitely opening lenient, which means the impact is in the opening. And if you look at the notes, I mean, it kind of tells you, right? A lot of the wonderful, complex notes are interwoven here in the intro of Boadicea the Victorious Defender. What do we got right here? We got grapefruit, we got a berry compote, a red berry compote. And if you don't know what a compote is basically a fruity jam-like concoction. And the berries that I smell here are strawberries and cherry. You have a cognac accord that sets up a classy boozy tangent. You have warming spices of ginger. You got licorice, and you've got a sweet honey modifier as well. So man, that's quite a lot right here in the opening, guys. That's what I'm saying, is that a lot of the impact will be here in the beginning of this fragrance. Now, a couple things I like about this, first and foremost, is the balance. This opening is incredibly balanced because first off, it sets a warming, comfortable, classy, expensive gradient with that cognac accord and the spices and that warming honey. But then also in the beginning of this fragrance, it balances out because you also have slight mood enhancing, lingering fruity notes such as your strawberry, your cherry, that compote, like I said, and a slight grapefruit that really raises, the mood enhancing properties of this fragrance in the beginning. Like I said, very incredibly balanced here. And also, I would say that this is a fragrance that smells expensive, all right? And that's, I would say the big characteristic of this brand is that I would say that there's no Boadicea that I've ever smelled that actually smelled cheap. All right, even if you can say allegedly they cloned other fragrances or they took formulas from other fragrances and kind of made it their own, improved on it, either way, you can't say that it smells cheap or it smells bland or the notes are not high quality. I would say that all the notes here are definitely high quality, and this opening right here made me want to wear my $3,000 Margiela jacket. Like, I have a 3K Margiela blazer, and I'm like, there's no occasions right now, but if I ever got to wear that again, I would definitely wear Defender with it, because it will make you smell like $1,000,000. Nice cherry cognac modifier, like I said, nice warming spices, but also, like I said, that mood enhancing fruity blast in the beginning is amazing. Now, on top of this fragrance smelling absolutely expensive and classy, this is for those that like complex formulas, all right, that kind of blend in unison and work in unison for a certain goal. And I mean, I like the fact that a lot of these are interwoven in the intro. I mean, I really like the warming ginger. It made me feel very comfortable. It has this draw-in quality, guys. But then, like I said, that cherry cognac cannot be ignored, as well as the fruitiness of the top. I mean, this is definitely a beautiful, complex intro that if you've never smelled anything like it, this would be a nice start. Now, is there a knock or a con in this intro that I absolutely love? Well, there kind of is, all right? And if you are a Boadicea collector, you might want to listen up to this. So this fragrance definitely, although there is a berry compote of strawberry and cherry, the thing is the cherry in this fragrance is quite prominent, a lot more prominent than the strawberries that actually mix up with the grapefruit, okay? And then you also have the cognac accord, which is also very prominent. Put those together and a lot of this intro will really remind you of Boadicea the Victorious Bodacious, all right? So that released not too long ago, guys. I did a video on that as well. And although progressively that fragrance went into a different route, I would say that the cherry cognac mix is definitely, I would say, almost the same with Boadicea the Victorious Defender. So that's all I'm saying, is that there might be some sort of redundancy, and if you've actually smelled the magic of Bodacious, you might not smell the magic so much here, because the cherry cognac accord is pretty much the same. All right, that mix of those two wonderful notes here in the fragrance is absolutely to die for. I mean, Bodacious was amazing as well. But of course, they put some modifiers in here, like I said, an uplifting balancer, and they did put some spices, guys. So there's some differences, but again, one thing you can't shake off, I guarantee it, if you own a lot of Boadicias, is the fact that there is some redundancy with Bodacious. Okay, so now let's talk about initial sillage and projection of Boadicea the Victorious Defender. This fragrance is a lingering draw-in scent, all right? And it's not too powerful, and a lot of expensive fragrances are not really supposed to be, room-filling, room-conquering type of fragrances. You kind of want to have kind of like a stance of classiness and restraint with these fragrances, but it's not weak. It's definitely lingering around. It's a mood enhancing type of fragrance with lingering fruity notes. Like I said, even the spicy notes are quite aromatic here. But for me personally, I like the fact that this is a draw-in scent. The fact that you have a lot of warming, close quarter, lovely smells right here, from a cherry cognac accord to the spices to the honey that's here. I think that that's what I like the most. On top of, the lingering stuff, I feel like the lingering stuff is more for the wearer. But if this is for others, if you are going to be on a date, or, you're going to be with some people around you, I really feel like the draw-in nature of those other notes are amazing. Okay, so here's one thing that's interesting. What is the coverage of the uplifting notes? Because obviously you have a lot of gradient warming notes, and you already know that that's really where it's headed. If you have a lot of those, that's where it's going to go. So I would say that the berries and the grapefruit here, the initial part lasts up to 45 minutes into the fragrance, and after the 45-minute mark, really you have the gradient. It starts going into a sensual, warming, and comforting territory that, like I said, all those notes already do. And because a lot of those notes are piled in the beginning, let me tell you, the interesting thing is that the coverage of this opening lasted to me up to 3 hours of wearing this scent. All right, that's how you know that a lot of these notes are heavily put into this intro, because in some other fragrances, they go to the mid within like an hour or maybe even an hour and a half. But this one right here, because you have a lot of concentration of those notes, they do quite last a while. And if you liked this cherry cognac intro, like I said, with some modifiers, I think you're gonna like it. The fact that it lasts more than your average opening. Again, about 2 to 3 hour coverage of the opening salvo of this fragrance. Okay, so now let's talk about the mid of this fragrance that comes in at around the 2.5 mark to 3 hour mark, like I said. And I'm gonna say this, that the rest of the fragrance feels like a continuum. And what I mean by that is that the notes of the mid, although they're not the same as the intro, they're actually, there to continue the sensation. And so I would say that the mid of Defender feels very seamless. It feels like you're still smelling the same thing, although other notes have picked up on this. Here in the mid, you have the florals of orange blossom and jasmine, and then you have myrrh as well as hay. All right, and like I said, I feel like it is a continuum. The myrrh, which has its own balsamic spicy qualities, continues from the cognac / spice continuum. And then you have the sweeteners such as the orange blossom. I would say majority orange blossom, jasmine in the back to continue the sweetness of the intro of the fragrance. And then you have hay that kind of provides this earthy body to this fragrance that eventually goes into tonka bean. But the hay definitely continues the sensation from the thickness of the spices. All right, so I really feel like it is a continuum. You still get sweet properties, you have earthy hay properties, and then you have myrrh that kind of continues from the cognac accord. But again, like I said, this is like 3 hours in, so it's not really a mid to me. I feel like it's like a continuum going into the dry down that's really more related into the mid. But again, it is a long 3 hour coverage of the opening salvo of Defender. Okay guys, now let's talk about the dry down of Boadicea the Victorious Defender, that to me starts at the 6 to 7 hour mark. And like I said, it feels like a continuum to that latter mid of the fragrance, guys. The latter mid that comes out 3 hours in. Now, on this dry down, you have tonka bean, which obviously continues from the haze, kind of like a sweeter hay version, plus some amber. You have some musks, you have Peru balsam that continues from the myrrh, in my opinion, because myrrh is kind of balsamic. You've got sweet balsamic, Peru balsam to continue from that myrrh. And again, it feels like a continuum. It feels like a continuous experience. Now, is there leather here? I mean, I smell kind of like a labdanum type leather, a well blended in leathery note, but it's not like a black leather that overtakes everything, that changes the game. I mean, I'm not really a big fan of leather, so I wouldn't say that the leather actually is a super prominent note here in the dry down for those concerned guys. All right, so ultimately the dry down is comforting, it's nice, it's a continuum of the sensations that you will smell as you are going through this fragrance over the hours and hours. So like I said, it is a continuum of that latter mid. Okay, so what is my overall feedback of this fragrance? First off, it is hard to shake off the fact that this is still a cherry cognac type fragrance, all right? And again, the redundancy with Bodacious is something that I believe y'all have to check out. Maybe try both, see it side by side, and see how it goes. Now again, if Bodacious was out of your mind, out of sight, out of mind, I believe that this might be a really nice fragrance that will give a lot of impact. If this is the first time you'll try a cherry cognac accord fragrance with some nice balancers and modifiers, guys. So I think it's pretty nice, guys. And of course, there will be those Boadicea collectors that will probably write this one off and say, oh, it's a pass. Oh, I've smelled it before. Well, probably it's because of Bodacious. But if you take that away, like I said, what a wonderful intro. 3 hours of that opening, and again, incredibly classy. Made me want to wear my Margiela jacket or my Xenia $3,000 jackets. I mean, I normally do my reviews in my t-shirt, but yeah, I got my classy clothes as well. Great compliment to that, guys. All right, and also I gotta say, usage wise, this one here is not super thick to where that it's only like a winter fragrance. A lot of cherry fragrances are really geared towards the winter season, but this one I believe can be worn in AC environments anytime, anywhere, because you've got balancers, all right? And you can wear this in the fall. Right now is a great time to wear this fragrance. So I would say that this is a nice, usable cherry cognac fragrance. And also, this is to me an upscale grabber. All right, even with the mood enhancing properties that could possibly make this a fall grabber, it's also an upscale grabber because it smells absolutely classy and expensive. All right, to me, it is an upscale grabber. Now, let's talk about the unisex stuff right here. Is this unisex? Absolutely. I know that the literature said, oh, this is for a warrior queen. Guys, don't be deterred by it, because I think that this can be worn by a guy as well, or somebody that likes masculine perfumes. This will quite work out because really there's a lot of balancers that lean towards spicy, boozy, comforting, which is, it can be worn by guys. And there's enough sweetness that I think the women or anyone in between that likes femme-leaning perfumes will like it as well. So incredibly unisex and versatile. Got nothing to say about that. Anyone can wear it. And finally, let's talk about total performance of this fragrance. This fragrance lasted me from 10 to 11 hours, okay? And that's with, I would say, conservative sprays of this fragrance, but it could be more depending on how much you spray. But again, this fragrance right here is not really beastly, if that's what you're talking about. And there's a lot of Boadiceas that are pretty beastly. This one has the, enough, you could say, concentration that it would pique the interest of people around you and pull them in. All right, that is what I can say. Again, a lingering draw in scent that lasted to me up to 11 hours of this scent. And finally, let's talk about the pricing, guys. Okay, full bottle of this fragrance, $600. Very expensive, like I said. So make sure you test and try this. And again, this one was from Zigo Perfumery, but there are other, I think Boadicea themselves are actually selling samples of this fragrance. Now, one big adjustment that they made was that they made 10 ml bottles, which is pretty insane. And thank God they probably listened to the market, because, for a long time, Boadicea was anti-decant, anti-sampling, because they were so exclusive, and, you'd have to just blind buy it. That is not the way to go. And I'm sure that's what they found out, and that's why they made this adjustment. The thing about this fragrance world nowadays, guys, I gotta say, if Boadicea is listening, is that it is about how much people really talk about and enjoy this perfume. I really feel like the community is about shared experiences, and if there's a lot of people that share the same sensations and feedback on a fragrance, hopefully positive, that will lead to sales indefinitely. All right, so with that being said, it's a good thing that Boadicea, try to cut the middleman by actually selling 10 ml bottles. I believe Defenders is $60, but there are others as well, like Aqua Sapphire and such. And then you can just get samples of this if you decide to get any of those 10 ml bottles. So kudos to Boadicea for doing that. Is it sample worthy? For sure. Is it blind buy worthy? I think so as well, provided that you haven't smelled any other cherry cognac fragrances such as Bodacious. Then I would say it is blind buy worthy. And that is it. That is my no hype review on the latest Boadicea the Victorious Fragrance Defender. I'm looking forward to the new Boadicea with all these changes that they have been making. All right, and this is a pretty solid fragrance, like I said. Let me know in the comments below what y'all think of this fragrance, if you actually enjoyed it, if the intro was impactful to y'all, and if you felt this was redundant with Bodacious. I would love to know your feedback. Again, no right and wrong answers here, because this channel is my own feedback. All right, I'm not trying to influence anybody. This is just how I feel about the fragrance whenever I review it. So let me know in the comments below what y'all think, and if you have any other requests. I believe the next one might be Poets of Berlin, or the new Palatine by Parfums de Marly. I know a lot of y'all tried to request Red Fever by ATH. I'm working on it, as well as Gambit by Mind Games. I'm working on that as well. If you have any requests that's not on this channel, I'm all ears, because this is from you guys. You guys are the community. You guys know technically more than me in terms of what the releases are, what people are talking about. So please comment below if you have any requests. Anyways, I'm back to work, guys. I'll see you guys on the next video. Please do not forget to like and subscribe. God bless. Take care. Peace.